this week's epic episode of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Diamond is Unbreakable. Koichi and Jotaro fight bravely against Kira Yoshikage and the Killer Queen. And despite being seemingly defeated, it looks like Kira is going to make a quick escape and even grab a brand new face on the way out. It was so frustrating seeing Kira Yoshikage actually escape in this week's episode, which featured a major character death, not to mention some super intense action, some of which was incredibly satisfying. I mean, come on, guys. When Jotaro got up and started using the Star Platinum and blocking all of Killer Queen's attacks, and then just continuously wailed against him, practically defeating Kira Yoshikage, that was a really great moment. But hell, even the way this episode opened up was insane, because Kira Yoshikage, despite the fact that he wants to live a quiet life, doesn't seem like he's going to be able to do that anymore, especially because he's making a fool of himself in public because the sheer heart attack has been weighed down, which is causing his hand to constantly plow into the dirt. And as he tries to escape and confront Koichi, he's confronted by these two goons who start to mess with him, push him around, and try to steal his money. The problem is Killer Queen has touched his wallet, so if you ever try to take his money, it's just going to cause your hands to explode, so don't fuck with that guy at all. And then you have the big confrontation between Koichi and Kira, which is basically kind of a massacre, but it's still incredibly satisfying, especially the way that Koichi actually manages to get under Kira's skin. What I mean by this is that Koichi has to make the tough decision of using his stand to either stop sheer heart attack or to stop Kira himself. The problem is he's going to be attacked by one of them either way. He decides to stop sheer heart attack, and that's when Kira gets in there and frankly just impales him with one massive punch from the Killer Queen. And this could be the end. Like, I was thinking this could very well be the death of Koichi, but he continues to talk. He continues to learn that this is actually Kira Yoshikage. He sees that his wallet has fallen on the ground. He knows who he is, and that's when he realizes, yep, this is my opportunity to beat him psychologically. He lets him know that you allowed a kid, a normal high school kid who's practically an idiot, and all of Kira's mistakes come crashing down on his head as he realizes that someone has learned his identity. It feels like a major loss to him, and that's when he decides to finish him off. But that's when Jotaro comes in and just completely wipes him out. And just like the police in a horror film, Josuke and Okuyasu show up at the last minute to help their friends. They heal Jotaro and they heal Koichi, and then they notice this one mysterious guy who's hanging out in the corner, and of course this Kira Yoshikage. And despite the fact that both Okuyasu and Josuke aren't, you know, the sharpest knives in the drawer, they actually manage to trick Kira Yoshikage. They do this by mentioning the fact that he can fix him up. What this means is, basically, Kira saw his stand power, and there's no way that a normal high school student would have the capabilities to actually heal someone, so they realize this is the guy who has the Killer Queen stand, they know his name, and Kira decides to do something insane. He cuts his hand off, which allows the sheer heart attack to act on its own. The problem is Kira doesn't know everything about Crazy Diamond, and Crazy Diamond actually uses his abilities to reverse everything, causing the hand to start to go across the city and go back to its original owner, Kira Yoshikage, who's just sort of walking around the city, bleeding out and freaking out everyone in his way. He even runs into one of his old co-workers who's definitely about to have a really bad day, because it all ends with Kira actually returning to the Cinderella shop where Aya Tsuji works. Aya, unfortunately, meets her maker in this episode, as not only is she killed and dies in a massive explosion, but Kira actually forced her to use her stand powers to make Kira a brand new face and a brand new identity, which means, even though they know who the killer is, it's going to be really difficult to find him now because he's going to look completely different. Kira Yoshikage is still out in Morio, and he still has big plans to live a nice, quiet life as long as it involves cutting off people's hands. So what's the rundown on this week's episode of Diamond is Unbreakable? I think my favorite scenes from this episode, without a doubt, had to be the Jotaro and Koichi scenes. The Jotaro scene was basically just satisfying in the sense that it's Jotaro being a badass, standing up to a villain and just completely wasting him. Juxtaposed to that, we have Koichi, who confronts Kira in this episode, which was just immensely satisfying. I like how the more pissed off Koichi gets, the more he starts to resemble a Super Saiyan, the way his hair starts to spike up. And the despite the fact that he does lose, and even though, you know, the Echoes doesn't really do anything that crazy, aside from the fact that it does look awesome when it is actually fighting back and using its freeze abilities, he still manages to get defeated, but he still manages to defeat Kira in his mind, and that was just such a great moment. Like, what a badass way to go out, especially after you've been practically impaled. And, I mean, Koichi gets his ass handed to him in this episode. There's a scene where Kira practically plays basketball with his face. Now that I think about it, Koichi has probably had the roughest time in the Diamond is Unbreakable series. I mean, he has suffered some real serious shit and seen some honestly mega disturbing stuff, and it's probably only going to get crazier as we get this much closer to the conclusion of Diamond is Unbreakable. I have no idea how long this anime series is going to be. It almost seems like we're getting close to a finale, but I have a feeling there's going to be a few more stories to tell and a few more things to reveal about Kira himself, so I can't wait to see when we get to that. What I will say is, this week's episode was fan-freaking-tastic, incredibly satisfying, and also just very heartbreaking starting to see some of the major characters kick the bucket, not to mention that amazing cliffhanger ending when he manages to escape and get a brand new face. Things are about to get crazier for Josuke and his friends, and I suggest we strap in and get ready for some excitement. What I will say is this week's episode kicked ass. I'm giving it a 5 out of 5. Check it out, JoJo fans! You're definitely gonna see something you like. If any of you did watch this week's episode of JoJo, make sure to tell me what you thought about it in the comments section below. Did any of you have a favorite scene from this episode? The return of Jotaro in Star Platinum? What about Koichi standing up to Kira? And how are they going to find this guy with a brand new face? Please tell me your thoughts and what you hope to see from the rest of the series in the comments section below. Thank you guys so much. You are awesome. One of the best ways to support my YouTube channel is to continue doing what you're doing right now, which is to watch our videos. But another great way, of course, is to subscribe, to hit that like button, and to check out our weekly podcast show, The Powerful Nerdcast, as well as all of our cool social media stuff. You'll find that all in the description box below. Thank you guys again for watching. And as always, stay dandy, baby!